The Diary of a Home Care Worker by Rita Nemo with Julian Hutchings. Episode 5. Monday. I saw Raymond today. He's a hoarder. You've probably seen programmes on TV about hoarders. They try and present it like they're doing people a social service, and I suppose they are in a way. They talk to this old guy, and then they send in a team of people, and it turns out he's really pleased to clear out his house, and he had some big sadness in his life. His son was in the army and was killed in Iraq or something. And then at the end of the programme, the guy's all cleaned up and he has a new suit and they give him a haircut and cut off his beard. And underneath he's really handsome. And his neighbour falls in love with him and they live happily ever after in his newly empty house. All the old newspapers gone and the empty tins cleared out. And all the years of detritus packed away in bin liners and the grass cut down. That's not real life. That's not Raymond. There's no Channel 4 production team hanging around his house. No cameramen and sound recordists, pretty graduate interns and runners, or whatever they call them, banks of lights and a big truck, and Aggie Mackenzie or that other superstar cleaning lady giving him advice and sniffing his smalls. Nope. There's just Raymond and his fucked up, desolate, underwhelming, overwhelmed life amidst the wreckage of his loss and lonely days. And me, of course, picking my way through the wreckage like a scavenger on a rubbish dump in Manila or Bangladesh, or one of those other Channel 4 destinations, and trying to give him a decent quality of life. I see him twice a day. I'll try and describe what a hoarder hoards. You think you know, diary, and dear readers, if there ever were any, but you don't. You think a hoarder is like a passionate collector who keeps collections of magazines or matchbox cars or stamps or coins or Toby jugs, or they have a big model railway layout with thousands of feet of track and a flying Scotsman and a golden arrow or whatever that bloody train is called. Or else you've been to that Teapot Island place in Kent that me and Tim went to with Richard when he was a baby, with their thousands of teapots, and you think it's quaint and rather sweet, albeit a bit weird, that they have 5,000 teapots in a cafe. But it isn't. A hoarder keeps. Hoarding makes it sound like there's some reason behind it, some logic, some master plan, some sense, as if they're saving it for a rainy day and one day they'll be finished, and then it will all be stored neatly away in that big yellow storage place. No. A hoarder keeps everything. They keep everything. Just think about that for a moment, diary. Think about what you throw away or dispose of in a normal day's living, and then think about not throwing it away, but keeping it, everything, every day, for the rest of your life. Raymond is a lovely man, and I feel so desperately sorry for him. Not that that helps him none. He was in a children's home for most of his young life, from the age of 4, when his parents were killed, up to the age of 18. Not the same home all the time, different ones. Sometimes council-run, sometimes not, but mostly council-run, because they were in those days, before we all became free and private companies started to do things. The council knows best. The council should still do it, they say in the Daily Mail and elsewhere. And we shouldn't have private companies doing social care, and the NHS shouldn't be privatised. Not that I think it should, but if it's better and cheaper that way, then why not? Because councils are safest, and the staff have a better attitude and they're harder workers. He was raped, diary, raped and fucked, every which way from morning till night, day after day, night after night, week after week, month after month, year after year, for 14 years, by the staff, the carers, the people charged with looking after him, the people responsible for his welfare, the council staff. Raped, beaten, tortured, hit, abused, mistreated, controlled, starved, trapped, for every one of his young days, so that he didn't have a childhood, he didn't have a life, because they owned his life. They owned him, and they stole his childhood away because the council knew best. So now he's crazy, Raymond. Because that thing they did to him, those things they did to him, you don't get over it. You don't recover. You don't come out the other side. There is no other side for Raymond. He's on this side, and always will be until he dies, and that won't be long because he doesn't want to be here, and I don't blame him. I know crazy is not the right word, not the correct nomenclature, as they say, but it fits. And so, he keeps everything. I bet you keep some carrier bags because now you have to pay for them, so you have a cupboard or a drawer full for when you go shopping. But the rest of the packaging, the plastic bags, the trays that the fruit comes in, the yoghurt pots and plastic milk bottles, the cardboard boxes of tomatoes, the empty bags of frozen peas, coffee jars, newspapers, junk mail, pizza, delivery flyers, cigarette butts. You throw them away, don't you? Or if you're good, you recycle them. But Raymond doesn't have any rubbish. He doesn't have any recycling. Or you could say that he's the ultimate recycler because Raymond doesn't throw anything away ever and never has done. Think about that for a while, diary. He has never thrown anything away. Nail clippings, breadcrumbs, milk cartons, toothpaste tubes, tea bags. Copies of the Radio Times from 1987 and every week since. Cigarette ash in mounds. Cheese rind, apple pips, dead spiders, flies, wasps, daddy longlegs. Tin cans and tin can lids. Hundreds of them. Beer bottles and beer bottle tops. Old worn-out clothes, broken shoelaces. And on, and on, and on, and on. His flat is getting smaller. Not literally, of course, it's still the same size, but the space he has to live in is gradually disappearing under rubbish that flows like lava. I don't have much room now. There's a narrow corridor through his living room where he lives, to the bathroom where he sometimes goes, and I pick my way along that. He has no bedroom, not anymore. No spare room, no dining area, not much hallway. His world is closing in, and soon it won't exist. I've been reporting it every day since I started to go and see him, but so far he resists anyone coming into his flat, except me. I speak to him, of course I do, and try and persuade him to let them in, but so far he's refused. They work for the council, you see. The council that knew best, back in the day when he was raped every night by council staff. Tuesday. Good news! I'm on Carer of the Month. Every month the agency has an award for the best or most popular or most highly regarded carer, and last month it was me. I won 25 quid in Boots vouchers. Who goes to Boots these days? I can't remember the last time I went there, but I suppose one always needs shampoo or laxatives, and Richard might start shaving soon, and one of these days, so I'll buy him a razor and get one for myself while I'm there. It does make me a bit uneasy, though. Aren't we all good carers, caring, compassionate, thoughtful, treat people with dignity, respectful, who all deserve an award? Instead of one of us once a month getting 25 quid in Boots vouchers to spend on laxatives. I mustn't be so cynical, diary. I got a certificate as well, which will go in my file. The Care Quality Commission will be impressed. Monday. I saw George today. You remember George, with his multiple sclerosis and his cunt of a wife? Julia, the coordinator, told me that the agency big boss had a meeting with George's wife, a social worker and someone from the council's contracts team, and told George's wife that she had to respect the care workers who had a job to do. And he told the man from the council that the price for supporting George was increasing. But you can't do that, said the council man. Yes, I can, said the big boss. If you want us to continue to support George, you're going to have to pay for it. Because we have to pay the care workers more to get them to go. Call it danger money. Either you persuade Mrs. George to pay for it, or you get your chequebook out. Simple as. And the council man agreed, surprisingly enough. So we'll see. I get an extra £1 an hour to look after George and to be abused by his horrible wife. £1. I can buy half a lottery ticket. What a job. Wednesday. Andrea is about my age. Had a stroke and recovering, but slowly. It's not easy for her. It's not easy for any of them. We get on okay, but she talks constantly about sex, and it's weird. I'm not a prude, Diary, far from it. I like sex as much as the next woman, more probably, except for Marcia next door. But it still makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, I suppose. I'm a care worker and think I do a professional job, but because you're working in people's homes, they think you're their friend. It's difficult sometimes. I do her personal care and she makes suggestive comments. She's not gay, at least I don't think so, but pretends that she is, I think just to embarrass me, which it does. Are you gay, Rita? Bi? No, Andrea, I'm not. Ever tempted? Andrea, I say, I'm here to do a job. I'm not really here to talk about sex. Sorry, she says, and sulks. And then a bit later she wants me to watch porn with her. Sit down with me, she says. Watch this, you'll love it. Andrea, I say, I've got my work to do. I'm only here for 45 minutes, and that's what I get paid for. I don't really have time to watch porn. Come back this afternoon, then. When you're not working, we can watch it then. Thanks, Andrea, but I'm working this afternoon. This evening, then. Come this evening. Go on, you know you want to. I don't know what to say. I need to say no. I want to say no, but it makes me feel mean somehow. She's just lonely and obsessed with sex. If she was a man, I'd be firm with her and tell her off, but because she's a woman, it seems different. But it's still sexual harassment, isn't it, Diary? I go in the kitchen and on the table she has salt and pepper pots shaped like penises. I tidy her bedroom and there are vibrators lying around. I pick up a tea towel to dry some dishes and there's a big picture of a couple having sex on the front. I go in the bathroom to do some cleaning and the soap is shaped like a penis and the sponges look like breasts. I do her washing and it's all crotchless panties and peephole bras. I put her clothes away and her bedroom drawers are full of latex costumes and sex toys. I tidy her bedside table and she's reading The Story of O and 50 Shades of Grey, both of which I read ages ago and thought they were rubbish. I remember when I was about 14 and The Story of O did the rounds at school. Lorraine Grimes, Kev's sister, got it first, I expect from him, and then passed it round the gang and we all giggled and thought it was so rude. And then I started reading it again a few years ago, but never finished it. God, it was boring. And 50 Shades of Grey is rubbish too, but you knew that. I'm off now, Andrea, I say, when I've finished. Come back tomorrow, she says. I've got The Story of O on Blu-ray. Sometimes this job feels a bit weird. Friday. Christabel was sitting in her chair on her balcony when I arrived today, and she was naked. She's 89, not very mobile, has a Zimmer frame and creeps about, shuffling and slow, and it catches on the rugs and threatens to trip her over, so I use the key safe. Morning, Christabel, I shouted as soon as I opened the door. It's Rita. She didn't reply, so I walked through the flat and found her in her chair on the balcony, eyes closed, snoring peacefully, a pile of knitting on the table beside her, naked as the day she was born. Oh, Christabel, I said, you've got no clothes on. She slowly opened one eye and looked at me. It was a hot day, and the bright sun was shining out of a cloudless sky. You're very observant, Rita, she said. Any chance of a tea? 2 sugars, pop it. Monday. I'm in trouble. God, am I in trouble. I think I'm going to lose my job, and it's all my fault. Actually, it's not all my fault, but it is mostly my fault. But I don't deserve to lose my job. I'm a good carer, a good person, a nice person, a hard worker. And Richard needs me. He needs me working, not wandering round the house in my dressing gown, bitching. And the last thing I need is to give that no-goodnik, I love that word, I heard it in Some Like It Hot, Tim, any cause to celebrate and dance on my P45. Bear with, and I'll tell you all about it. It's all that Sharon's doing. She's got it in for me for some reason. We met when we went to see Bill that time, and she took those photos of us sitting on the bed with him. You remember. the ones she said she'd deleted. We've worked together a few times since then, and she always seems a bit snippy to me. Maybe she's jealous. I don't know. Why would she be jealous of me, apart from that I have a nicer figure and am better looking and the clients like me more? Anyway, she deleted the photos of her and Bill, but not the one of me and Bill. And she got in trouble with the agency for some reason I don't know about, missing visits. And during her interview in her disciplinary, she showed them the photo of me and Bill on her phone. So now I have to attend a disciplinary too. Bitch. Friday. God, that was awful. I hope I never have to go through that again. I had my disciplinary interview about the photograph. It was with the manager of the office, who's called Lola, and a girl called Lee who took notes. Lola said I was entitled to have someone with me for moral support, so I asked Maureen, who's another carer who knows me, and we're quite friendly. Lola asked me to explain about the photograph and how it came about, and why did I do it. So I told her about Bill and about Sharon and how it was just innocent, and I did it because Bill asked me, and I couldn't see the harm. It was giving an old man a bit of fun and light in a life that was fairly dark. Lola asked me some more questions, and I had the impression that she understood it was all pretty innocent, really, but that she had a job to do, which I could understand. Anyway, at the end she said she had to remind me about the importance of boundaries, and that a lot of the rules they had were designed to protect me as much as anything else, and I needed to be careful because things could get misconstrued. She said I should have some more training. Then she gave me a verbal warning and told me I had the right to appeal, but I'm not going to. At the end of the day, I can see her point, but it's hard in this job. We get very close to the clients in lots of different ways, and we try and help them in lots of different ways, which aren't always specified in the care plan. And they might be old and frail, or have disabilities like Bill, but they still have feelings, they still have needs, they're still people. They're not just patients, aren't they? But just wait until I see that Sharon. Thursday. Doreen is 82 and covered in tattoos. I've seen tattoos, of course I have. Got two myself, as it happens. A little purple and yellow passion flower on my ankle, and a pale blue forget-me-not on the back of my right shoulder. Small, tasteful, nicely done. Not some tramp stamp just above my arse, or Tim's name entwined in a snake over my boobs or sleeves, like some women and plenty of men I've seen. Tim had my name on his arm, even though I advised him not to, not because we might not be together, although we weren't after he ran off with that nail bar technician, which was him, nothing to do with me, but because I thought it was tacky and a bit cheap. Not that I told him that, but he was in love with me, or so he said, or was then anyway, and got it in Ibiza, where he went with his mates and never told me what happened there, apart from the tattoo. But I was talking about Doreen. She's covered in them, neck to ankle, all over. Hardly an inch of skin uninked, and she's a work of art, she really is, and showed me one day when I was giving her a shower and explained what they all were and why she got them. How did it start? I asked. It was when I tried to kill myself, she said. Oh, I said, I'm sorry, I didn't know. It was a long time ago. I was 19, in love with a boy, Jason. Usual story, in the army he was. Royal Marines, to be precise. Gorgeous, tall, strong as an ox, sexy as hell, even if it was the late 50s. And he was killed in Aden, ambushed by insurgents. Didn't even know he was there. Secret mission. That's when I tried to kill myself, slashed my wrists. Only just survived. My parents came home early and found me. But I got embarrassed by the scars, even though they were with Jason, if you know what I mean. So I got a tattoo to cover them up. Liked it. And once I'd started, I kind of got addicted and never really stopped. Have you stopped now? No. Why should I? Although I'm running out of skin to cover, which is a problem. And so she sits most days in her armchair, looking out of the window, still dreaming of him who is gone and watching the afternoon light play across her artwork and reading the poems and quotes that swirl across her illustrated body. I'm thinking I might get another one. I wish I'd had a love like Jason. Is there still time, I wonder? Friday. Neville is grumpy all the time. Late 60s, Parkinson's, had it for years. More or less controlled by all the drugs he takes, but still has a lot of falls, which is why he has care at the moment. Fell over, broke his ankle and wrist, cuts to his face, so personal care is a problem, and so is everything else. His speech can be difficult to understand, although fine for me as I'm used to it, and spend time trying to understand him, which not all the carers do. He's always grumpy, is Neville. Does your head in, as they say. I do my best to cheer him up, even though I suppose his life isn't that great. How's the family, Neville? Miserable, he said. Takes one to know one, I suppose, but kept quiet. Why is that, Neville? Jenny's husband ran off. Keith's drinking again. Bob thinks he's gay. Mandy's having an affair and thinks her husband has guessed, although he's been having an affair for years. And I thought I had troubles with Tim. I'm sorry, I said. They don't talk to me, he said. Oh, I said, how do you know all this then? Mandy told me. She Skyped me the other day from Canada. But she's the only one. She lives in Canada. All the others live here within 50 miles, all of them, and they never visit, never phone, never write, don't even Skype. I haven't seen any of them for over a year. I see more of her than I see of them, and she's on a screen. Oh, I said, I really must do something about my vocabulary. Do you know why? They're bastards, probably. Not literally, of course. They're all mine, worse luck. Just, some families get like that. Don't let your family get like that, Rita. Do what you can to hang on to them. You need them when you get older. I suppose it was my fault. Me and Keith never got on, and he started drinking in his 20s, never really stopped, although he's tried, occasionally, without success. I never understood gays. Still don't, probably, so me and Bob never saw eye to eye. And Jenny's husband was and is a wanker, and I told her so, which was no doubt a mistake, although now she knows it's true. You got any children, Rita? I have a son, Richard. He's 13. Good boy, is he? Oh, yes, I said. Good kid. Not like his dad. Let me give you some advice, Rita, you don't mind. Encourage him. Give him good advice, but don't stand in his way. Let him find his own path. Make sure he knows you'll always love him, whatever happens. That way, when you get older like me, your kid might talk to you, like mine don't. Thanks, Neville. I appreciate that, and I'm sure your family will come around. I doubt it, but thanks anyway. Monday. Martin is comfortably off. Private client, very nice house, BMW in the driveway, divorced, wife left him years ago, ran off with a personal trainer. How tacky. And got her share, he tells me all about it. He has a couple of adult children, both with families of their own, and both live abroad. One works for the EU, on the gravy train, Martin says. I'm sure he's a Brexiteer. And the other a captain of industry in Canada, so he hardly sees them, but they Skype all the time. I see him a couple of times a week. He's had 2 hip operations and is convalescing slowly, walks with 2 sticks and needs some help with personal care. He has someone every day, but me just twice a week. It's how the rota works. Don't ask me why, I don't do the rotas. Anyway, diary. Today I was putting his socks on, struggling a bit, his ankle's swollen, but managed it eventually, and we were chatting, as we do. I was telling him about Richard, because he likes to hear about how he's getting on at school and stuff. I said that he'd got really interested in weights and working out, wanting to build up his body, as all the boys do. They see these Instagram photos of actors and YouTubers with six-packs and tight torsos and bulging muscles, and think that's what the girls like. I've got to be like that. He's getting obsessed. He's seen this indoor gym, I said. I tell you, it looks like a gallows, massive black steel thing, to stack his weights on and rest the bar on when he's doing his squats and his deadlifts and bench presses, or whatever they're called. You should see it. It's about the size of my front room. Let me buy it, said Martin. I was shocked. Pardon? I said. How much is it? Said Martin. Can you get it from Amazon? I have Prime, free delivery, 1-click ordering. Find it on the iPad, I'll order it. It'll be there by the end of the week, tomorrow if I order in the next 2 hours. I didn't know what to say. Martin, that's very kind of you to offer, but I can't accept anything from you. It's against the rules, company rules, and my rules. And that wasn't why I told you about it. I know it wasn't, he said. It's my choice. I have capacity, as they say. It's a present. And it's not even to you, it's to Richard. No, Martin, I said. Thank you. And as I said, it's very kind of you, but no. Please reconsider, said Martin. I have plenty of money, you can see that. I don't need it all. I'm not much of a socialist, certainly never have been, can't stand Corbyn, but why shouldn't I share it out if I want to? Please, Martin, I said, please, let's not talk about it any more. OK, Rita, he said. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you, but do let me know if you change your mind. The offer will stay on the table, as they say. I've heard loads of stories of care workers accepting gifts, taking loans, and of being pressured to take loans or gifts from clients who don't and won't take no for an answer. And I've heard of care workers who got sacked for it, quite rightly. One woman accepted £5,000 from a client after being pressured, which was supposed to be a gift, and then the client changed their mind and said it was a loan and wanted it back. Happens a lot. Not that she should have taken it, mind. I'm not saying that. No way. But not me, diary. I have my pride and my principles. Richard would really like his gallows, though. Saturday. Tim's got a new job. So what, you ask, diary, and I don't blame you. Night tube train driver, since you didn't ask. 3 nights a week and pots of money, loads of holiday, free travel, all sorts of perks. And is that a harder or more responsible job than what I do? What does he have to do that's so difficult or demanding? Nothing like me. Just read this diary, you don't believe me. OK, every now and again someone jumps in front of the train, can't be nice, but apart from that, it's not rocking science, is it, as someone said. But I shall be expecting a bigger contribution to Richard's needs, just you wait. The thing is, his job is a strong union, and they fought for better pay and conditions for their members. That's their job, and good luck to them. But care workers, we're not unionised, no one cares about us, we're the carers no one cares about. And I bet I know why. Most of us are women, most of us are foreign, most of us are on 0 hours contracts. There's too much work to get us organised, and we're fragmented. We work for lots of different companies, so finding us, gathering us together, is too complicated. No one can be bothered. Tube drivers? That's easy. How many tube companies are there? 1. That's how many. So you know where the train drivers are, and it's not like we're going to strike, is it? Even if we could afford it, which we can't. But I tell you, diary, if care workers ever got organised, properly organised, and started fighting for their rights, better pay, better terms, better conditions, latex gloves, you'd see some changes. I'd do it myself, but I don't know where to start. In the meantime, good luck, Tim, and send me the maintenance. Monday. I do the lottery, of course I do. Everyone does, don't they? I don't win. Well, I won £10 a couple of times, and once I won £175, which was nice, I can tell you. I bought Richard some new clothes, which he needed, and I got a new bra, which I needed, and we went to Nando's, just the two of us. Richard loves Nando's. Tim takes him sometimes, although it doesn't do a lot for me, but we had a nice meal. If I go out to a restaurant, which doesn't happen very often, believe you me, I like to be served. I don't want to do all the work myself, go up to the counter, place my order like it's a school canteen, which is what happens at Nando's. But that's not the point. The chicken's okay, I suppose, if you like chicken. I buy a ticket every week, but I change the numbers. I don't have lucky numbers, my age, Richard's birthday, that sort of thing. What's the point? There are no lucky numbers. All the numbers are just as lucky as any others. But people love their lucky numbers. Even though they never win, they still have their lucky numbers. Hope over experience, they call that. I read that somewhere. So I buy my ticket and I check my numbers and hope to win the big one and never do, like all the millions of other gullible poor people paying their poor tax. Frieda wants me to buy her a ticket. I go and see her a few times a week. She's nice. Old, like they all are. Frail, like they all are. Lonely, like they all are. A bit mad, like they all are. Poor, like they all are. A woman, like most of them are. But she's always friendly and smiles when I come around, which is more than you can say for some of them. You play the lottery, Rita? She said. Sometimes. Most weeks, yeah. I want to be in your syndicate, she says. I'm not in a syndicate, I say. Of course you are. Everyone's in a syndicate. I'm not. You should be. Improves your chances, everyone knows that. Maud at number 7, do you know her? She has care. She was in a syndicate. She had a big win, she told me. How much? I don't know, but it was thousands, I bet you. She was moaning because her care used to be free on account of she didn't have any money, and then she had to start paying on account of winning all this money. Every cloud has a silver lining. Or is it the other way around? Every silver lining has a cloud around it. Anyway, you get the picture. I'm not in a syndicate, I said again. We'll start one. We can be a syndicate of 2. I'm not allowed to, I said. It's against the rules. You have a lot of rules, she said. You should break some, make you feel better. Tell you what, I'll pick the numbers. I have some lucky numbers which I've used for years. Have you won anything? I asked. Never, she said. But you have to give it time. Our numbers aren't going to come up straight away, are they? It stands to reason. But it's random. Each draw is separate, so it doesn't matter what happened in the last draw. It doesn't make a blind bit of difference. You're wrong, said Frieda. Maud's numbers came up, didn't they? How do you explain that? She used those numbers for years, and then they came up and she won thousands. I gave up and made her a cup of tea and a sandwich. She finds it hard to move, so I left them on her table next to her chair, so they were easy for her to reach. She doesn't drink enough, usually. She gave me £2 to buy her ticket. I'll drop it in next time I visit. I'm not supposed to, but where's the harm? And it doubles our chances of winning half. Got to be worth having. Although we won't win. I never do. But I need a new bra, and Richard keeps going on about Nando's. You've been listening to episode 5 of The Diary of a Home Care Worker by Rita Nemo with Julian Hutchings. If you'd like to read it rather than waiting for the podcast, you can find it on Amazon. In the meantime, make sure you listen out for episode 6, coming soon to a podcast near you. Thanks for listening.